Hey guys, it's Hamster Fanatic 26, and today's video is going to be how the nitrogen cycle works. Nitrogen cycle, or just a nitrogen cycle. So basically the same thing. So I just have as you can see, I have the 2 holder tanks and the 10-gallon cycling. For the first time, I'm doing a cycle process for both of them. So yeah, and I just noticed that my heater in the 10-gallon is way below where it needs to be. There we go. So yeah. So basically the nitrogen cycle, it's basically when bacteria colonizes and it removes all the nitrate and ammonia breakups in the tank. So as you can see, I have no gravel, no decorations, nothing in my tank but my heater and my filter. Now cycling a tank, the complete process can take up to a month. So I am thinking about setting up a female beta sorority in the 10-gallon, and this is why my tank is cycling. And these are going to be for holding, quarantining. So those are on a cycling process too. You only have to cycle your tank once, as this lasts forever in the tank. You don't have to do it every time you clean the tank. And I was also confused on this. Now I just cleaned Glitzy and Merp right now, and I use this. Let me get it out of my little fish drawer. I use this Petco little ammonia remover. It's not going to focus in, so I'm just going to hold it from a distance. But this is basically some ammonia remover, and it says reduces the risk of pH drop during use and eliminates ammonia, chlorine, and chlorine. So usually if I don't use this on Glitzy, she will start whirling again. As you guys all know, she might have that whirling disease thingy. Oops, sorry. So yeah. So I used it on her today just to see if it would help, and it actually did help as she's not whirling. She's just kind of sitting at the bottom. So yeah. And Merp over there is just swimming fine. He's actually right there by his heater. It's probably his water is warm. I always clean it with warm water, yeah. So yeah. So when you're cycling your tank or the nitrogen cycle is occurring, there is I think 5 ways you can do it. I'm not exactly sure. But one can be the fish in reason. And this is not really recommended because the fish in reason puts that fish at risk. So basically, if you're using this method, which you really shouldn't be, but anyway, if you use this method, you are going to put a hardy fish in the tank that can be able to withstand really high ammonia levels, because they are actually producing their ammonia as they as they decompose food and, release it, which is crapping. So they're making ammonia, and the bacteria that's in the tank, it colonizes and it gets rid of all the bad bacteria and it adds in all the good stuff. But this is not recommended because not only you're putting that fish at risk, but it can mess up the whole tank cycle, and you have to do it all over again. I'm currently on day 2 of my cycling process. I haven't started this not too long ago. So yeah. And then the next way is you can do the fishless cycle. This is the way I am doing it because I do not want to put any fish at harm. So, the fishless cycle. You are going to have fish food. There's a whole bunch of fishless cycles ways, but I'm using this way. So fish food, you're just going to have any kind of basic flake food. And as you guys know, that flake food, once it's decomposing at the bottom of the tank, it creates ammonia. So the ammonia gets in the tank, the ammonia levels, it comes higher, and then the bacteria comes in and it colonizes and it breaks down and it takes the ammonia out of the tank. So nitrate and ammonia should be at 0. They should be pegged at 0, while nitrate starts to rise from the leftovers of the food. So after your tank is completely cycled, you're going to need to take a gravel vacuum and vacuum out all of the food that's left over. As you can see, there's a lot of food at the bottom of my tank just sitting there. And also with these two, there is too, like over there on the side and stuff. You can't really see down there. But yeah, so you can do it that way. This is the way I'm doing it. It's not always the most effective, because sometimes you don't put enough food in and it doesn't create enough ammonia to where the bacteria can come in and take it out. So it depends on how much food you put in there. I'm putting in about a pinch full of food. And sometimes I suggest weighing it down to the bottom because you want it to stay in there long enough so the ammonia can be released. You don't want the filter to catch it, so sometimes you need to weigh down the food. But it's not always the effective way, but right now this is the way I'm doing it. So the next way you can do it is the fishless cycle, but you can use household ammonia. So household ammonia is basically you go to any kind of fish store and you get this little bottle and it's pure ammonia. It's the good ammonia though. And you dump it in the tank however much it tells you to, and that will just basically instantly have the bacteria to come out and get all the bad stuff out and colonize. So I heard this way is not really available anymore because these are used in some explosives that they don't want anybody to try at home. So I heard that they were going to stop letting people buy household ammonia. eBay might be a choice, or Amazon, but I'm not exactly sure if it's sold in any of your local pet stores anymore. So I wouldn't count on this way if you're looking to cycle your tank, but if you can find some household ammonia, this has been proven that it's one of the effective ways. So the next way you can cycle your tank is using a shrimp. This might sound really weird, and it's not a fish shrimp. You basically go to a local food store that has over-the-counter meat and stuff, and you get one shrimp. And these are the frozen ones, and you just basically, you can wrap it up in like pantyhose or some kind of net and just drop it in the tank and let it sit there. And that creates ammonia because it's decomposing in the water. So you can just leave one single shrimp in the tank, and then once the cycle is done, after about a month, you can just take it out with a net. You can leave the shrimp bare too, but that will leave a lot of shrimp particles around the tank and stuff, and it's hard to vacuum it out, especially if there's gravel and plants and stuff in there. That is why I chose to not put any of the gravel and stuff in there until my tank is completely cycled. But yeah, so that's one way. And then another way is to be using shrimp that are fish, and yeah, it's basically the same thing. They just go in there and they just, you know, take out all the stuff and they produce waste, and that's the thing. So that was 2, 3, 4. I think that was all of them. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to think if I have any more that I missed. But those are the basic way you can cycle. So when you're cycling your tank, you're going to want to put in clean water that has already been dechlorified, so you know, basically water conditioned. And the #1 mistake that people are making when they get fish is like they put the water in, they let it sit for 2 days, and then put the fish and put in. I witnessed a really major tank disaster because of this. I did the same dumb mistake, and then when I didn't know what went wrong, I went on the tropical fish forum, and I will definitely leave the link below. You guys, whoever's owning fish, tropical fish, go to this forum. This forum is just like the Hamster Hideout forum. It's just for fish. And it's really, really, really helpful because I posted topics and got responses no later than 24 hours later. People are really on top of this, and they know exactly what they're talking about. So if you guys need help with anything like that, fish or nitrogen, whatever like that, please, 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 please go visit the link in the description. So anyway, yeah. So you're going to want to have your tank being filtered and heated. As you can see, that was the only 2 things in the tanks besides the fish food that's producing ammonia. Now, what you guys don't understand, probably most of you, is that your water can look crystal clear, like I'm talking about crystal clear, but be at toxic points. And you would never notice because you're not the fish that's producing ammonia and getting the ammonia in their system. So once you add fish in, like after your tank is all cycled, you're done. When you add fish in, you can only add about 2 to 3 fish per 2 weeks, because this gives the tank some time to get used to them, get used to the cycle, the bacteria to fully colonize, and then after 2 weeks you can add another one in, and this just also reduces the risk of disease outbreak. And this is another reason why you're going to need to, before you add your fish into the basic tank that you're going to put them in, you quarantine them. This is why these 2 tanks are cycling also. So I personally recommend doing your quarantine tanks 2 weeks before you start your main tank cycle, because 2 weeks, you can get the fish 2 weeks before the tank is cycled all the way. The main tank is going to take about a month. All tanks take about a month to cycle, not just the main one that they're going in, but all tanks take about a month to cycle. So I'd recommend getting the fish 2 weeks, or starting the quarantine tank cycle 2 weeks before you start the main tank cycle, because this will give it time to finish first, so you can start quarantining the fish before this tank cycle is done. And once this one is done, they will be all quarantined, and you won't have to wait So that would be the easier way, is to get the fish 2 weeks before your tank is done cycling. You're also going to want to take note of what day you're on cycling and what the tank looks like. This is just helping you see if there's any differences, or do you need to start the tank cycle over. So that is basically nitrogen cycle. It's basically when you add water and you do one of the ways you cycle it, and the bacteria colonizes, and after about a month you're ready to go. You do not have to cycle it again. It stays in the tank forever. And when you are cleaning your filter after you've cycled it, I recommend just taking the filter out like a day after the tank is cycled, and then just like gently rinsing it, just because it can have some of the ammonia left in it that's not okay. So, but rinse it in dechlorinated water. So basically water conditioned water overnight, and then just rinse it in the next morning, and then you can add your fish. And once again, guys, remember 2 to 3 every 2 weeks, because that just gives it time. So yeah, guys, that is basically the nitrogen cycle. Hope this video helped. I know Turds and Toys needed help on this. And a good way to keep ammonia levels down or algae down is to get loaches, coolie loaches. I know Turds and Toys got some, and they're basically cleaning her tank out. I think she has one in the tank gallon, but it's 2 goldfish and 1 in her community tank. I'm not exactly sure though. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this video helped, and I'll see you guys next time.